out there where nobody really teaches ethics and spirituality, ethics and channeling, and I do. This is really important to me because I want to make sure that the students that I teach are ethical and professional with high integrity. And so there's a couple topics that I'd like to bring up today, and one of them is about medical advice. So we're not, unless you're like a medical doctor, I suggest just avoid this topic. If somebody brings it up and wants to know about medical advice, I would suggest, if it's generic things like take your vitamins or go, exercise more, things like that, that's totally fine. But when it comes to other topics like, I think you have to be very careful about this. So, and then there's also topics on like minimizing tells. And what I mean by this is I've seen some psychics, some readers and practitioners, and what they're doing, they're like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Have you ever heard of this? Like, what? And they're just like, and I watch the demeanor and I watch what happens to the client that they're talking to, and they just start to cower. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing to this poor person? They're making this like big deal out of something. And it's not that, if there's a range, you don't want to be like super crazy, like extreme about your emotions and what's going on. And you also don't want to be like monotone and robotic. And this is, you want to have some personality and some traits that are fine, but you don't just minimize your tells. Remember that you're a conduit for the information. So you're just giving the information, you're getting your information directly from their spirit guides, for example, if it's a spirit guide reading or a loved one reading, something like that. And you're not getting super like crazy emotional about it. You're just regulated, but you still have your flair, your charisma, all that stuff. Please do keep that. That's really important as well. Another really important topic is biases and non-judgment. Now, probably I would say 80 to 90% of your clients, if you're doing readings and psychic readings, anything like that, 80 to 90% of your clients will be empaths. And what I mean by this is they're highly sensitive people. So if you have a whole bunch of biases, like the person logs in and you're like, whoa, look at this person, whoa, and you start judging them and all this other stuff, chances are they're going to feel this and they're going to notice this. And that's going to come out in your reading, that they're going to be like, well, he seemed like a nice person, but there was just something like, I don't know, I didn't feel comfortable with that person. So you have to really catch yourself on any judgments or biases or like judgments that you might have towards that person. Like, they might not be clean cut, or who knows, tattoos or piercings, and who knows, or maybe just their personality or their traits. Or it might be like stories that they share with you that you may not agree with, or you might be like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But just watch your judgments. One of the best ways to live, and it's to, whenever you see yourself like making assumptions about someone or judgments about someone, just catch yourself on it, and then just try to breathe and let go of that judgment. But also, especially when you're doing readings and any kind of mediumship stuff or spirit guide readings and stuff like that. Another really important one is confidentiality. Do not share the messages and all the stuff that you get with other people. Don't be like, oh, I had this client and this happened and that happened, and going into detail about all. So just careful about that. We don't want to be breaching people's confidentiality. Word can get around where that person might find out that you shared all this private information about them, and that's not cool. You'll ruin your reputation really quick, really fast. So please, definitely, like I've had people where their partner or friend or spouse comes in later and goes, oh, can you tell me what happened with my partner? And I'm like, no, I'm not sharing that. Like, that's up to them. If they want to share that, that's fine, but I won't be sharing that. And I tell them that. Most of my clients after my sessions, they're, oh my God, Ken session this, Ken session that. And they're loving it and they tell everybody. But if somebody comes to me and asks me like what happened in Sally's session, and I'm like, no, I can't share that. That's private. She can share it if she wants to, but if she doesn't, that's up to her. So confidentiality, please be very strict about confidentiality. Another one is about psychic spying. At more advanced channeling training that I teach people, they have the ability at that level to psychically spy. It doesn't mean just because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean you should. Please do not do it. This is a hard no. Do not psychically spy on your exes and find out, oh, what's going on with them now, or psychically spy on maybe ex-coworkers or other friends, ex-friends that you may have had, stuff like that. Please just don't do it. Refrain from that. Very not cool. Um, Another one is giving unsolicited advice. So when you're doing a spirit guide reading, for example, they're coming to you for a spirit guide reading. So what you do is you just give the messages from the spirit guides without you giving your own advice. So be very careful about this. For example, if I was to somebody comes and asks me like, "Oh, should I date this person?" And I'm like, I'm not really going to tell you what to do because if I tell them what to do, and let's say, for example, I say, yeah, go ahead and date them, and then it turns out really bad, guess who they're going to blame? They're going to blame me. So I'm setting my, or if I say, no, no, don't date them, and then they regret it, which they have dated them, then guess who they're going to blame? They're going to blame me. So that's where I have to be careful about giving people like advice. And just what I want to do instead is I want to work with their spirit guides to help them to basically, do what's right for them and get answers for them, but let them make a decision so that if things go great, great. And if things don't, they're not going to blame me because I can tell them to do one or the other. They decided to do that on their own. Another really important one is convincing and correcting others. So, for example, you might see people in the spirituality or healing industry that are doing things that you may not 100% agree with, but so what? Like in the big scheme of things, does it really matter? Who cares? Like we're this tiny, tiny little speck of dust on this planet, and does it really matter if somebody thinks that they're channeling angels and they're really not? Like, so what, right? Like, you know, so just careful about going around correcting others or trying to convince people of other ways. There might be exceptions to that rule, but they're very rare. So for the most part, just refrain yourself, keep that to yourself. And another one is bad mouthing others. The spirituality industry is a very tight knit community, and everyone knows everyone. So if you go around bad mouthing your clients or bad mouthing other practitioners, other healers, other readers, other psychics, other mediums, the word probably will get around, back around. So just careful about bad mouthing others. And it's just really not a really high integrity way to live anyway. We want to do what's called edifying. Edifying is a great word that I love. It's talking about building people up. Like if you are going to talk about people, just say nice things about them. Like you may have heard the saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And that's true. And it's true in the spirituality industry as well. If you have nothing nice to say, just keep it to yourself. It's okay. You don't have to go and start bad mouthing other people, especially other practitioners and healers and things like that. It's not practice. Instead, though, if you are going to talk about people, talk about them, edify them. Say, yeah, this healer, he's great, he's amazing, I recommend him. I've gone to him, I really like him, I can vouch for him. He's a good guy, stand-up guy, or lady or female, whatever, whatever it might be. But just talk good about people if you are going to talk about people. And then the biggest one is living your life in extreme credibility and integrity. What I mean by this is that, like, think of where in your life are you not living in full integrity, and go ahead and do that. Live not just a little bit, but go way higher than you can imagine, and live an extreme, super, super, super high integrity in all the areas of your life, because it all matters. So you're building up a reputation, and that reputation is what's going to get you really far in this industry. And you want to live in full integrity as much as you can in all the areas of your life, so that when people refer other people to them, like their friends or family members, then they know that, oh yeah, this person's safe, you can send them to them and all that. So I can teach people all the amazing hard skills on how to be amazing channelers, and I do. I do all that at my channelinginc.com website. You can see all the offerings that I have. But what's even more important is my life's mission. My life's mission is to make this world a better place by teaching people how to channel. And if people in the spirituality industry are doing things that are sketchy and not ethical, and then other people who are kind of like new to this or dabbling in it or interested in it come across someone like that, they're going to be like, whoa, I tried that. I went to this healer or this psychic or this medium, and I had a really bad experience. I never want anything to do with that ever again. That goes against my mission. So what I want to do is I want to teach people not only to be super talented psychics, mediums, and readers, and healers as well. I also want them to live in integrity, professionalism, and super, super high ethics and morals. So my name's Ken Lewicki, and if you want to know more about me, please visit my website, channelinginc.com, and I look forward to seeing you all soon, and have a wonderful day.